Hey y'all, it is Tiffany here at a different chick farm and orchard. It is May 20th and it is quite chilly here in East Tennessee. Today's high was 58 and it has rained all day long. It really does feel like the last 3 years we've been in Seattle instead of Tennessee. But we're working with what we've got. So I'm going to kind of show you some of our crops that we got going right now and see if there's anything ready to take in and make for dinner tonight. Let's see. We are down in our lower field right now. We have got, these are radishes. They are actually probably going to be ready by this weekend, more than likely. I've got a lot of customers that really loves radishes, and our family has really decided over the last few years we love radishes. If you can see, hi Charlie. That's one of our cats, Charlie. He likes to be center of attention too. As you can see, the tops here of our radishes, and he's going to try to get in the way. Right there. When they start to ball up at the top, that's actually ready to pull. You can pull those out of the ground and eat them as they are, or you can let them grow and eat them later. Got some little tiny beets coming up right here. Got corn and beans that are actually growing really well, but it's going to be a while before those actually get ready to eat. Tomatoes are actually looking pretty good. These guys we had planted, about a week before our last serious frost, and it got super cold. A lot of people lost a lot of crops around here. We covered them, and I think all but like maybe 2 or 3 made it, and they were actually quite tiny, as you can see right here. Very, very tiny sides, but they're doing pretty good. We've actually got some sweet corn and McCaslin beans growing on this row, and brassicas, and more radishes. Hi, Charlie. I'm not giving you attention right now, so you can just hang it up. Let's see. We have also got some more sweet corn and more McCaslin beans. That first row that I was at is actually strawberry popcorn, and I can't remember what kind of beans that was on that one. Here, these are actually the longest in ground brassicas, so they are doing quite nicely. You can actually see some broccoli heading up here. Thankfully, at this point, it won't take long to start producing, and then we'll have broccoli to eat and to sell. Peas are looking really good. We've actually got some that are starting to flower up. Let's see if I can find a big radish here for us. Once again, there's a Charlie in the way. Gotta love cats. I have a feeling this radish is quite humongous. Actually, it's not. It has just bolted up. It'll probably start producing seeds just shortly. That's actually another thing you can eat, is radish pods from the seed pods. And they're actually pretty good. As you can see here, that's actually some pretty good sized radishes there. There's one of our little pea flowers. Several more coming into bloom here, so we'll have those just shortly. This is actually one of the radishes has started to pod up or seed up. Just a few more weeks, that'll actually start producing. Kind of looks like a head of broccoli. You can actually take any of these like radishes and broccoli, and almost all the plant is edible. The flowers are edible, the seeds are edible. seed pods maturely are actually pretty delicious. And that one's starting to seed up too. This is probably going to be last week to harvest all these guys before they all start seeding. That one's pretty big. A good size radish right there. Cats of farms, right? These guys do a good job keeping rats and everything away, though. See? Awesome radishes there. There's a bunch. Charlie. So, if you've got a produce box this weekend, you are guaranteed to have radishes in it. All kinds of them in there. Some of our cabbages, let's see if I can find one right here. They are getting ready to start heading up. You can't get my phone, Charlie. Now, all of these were actually planted the same weekend. All of these were also seeded at the same time, but there is significant growth difference. So it's just what environment they were in, if they were in the front of the tray, in the back of the tray, if they had too much heat, if they had too little heat, all makes a difference. Now, this one is one of our broccolis. As you can see, it has actually already flowered. So you can take it, you can let it flower. You can take that and eat it. Very delicious. And we have another cat that has joined us. Oreo. Oreo. She's ignoring me. She's our diva of the farm. She is actually our big mouser too. She goes hunting, and recently she was actually gone for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. She came back yesterday though. She does that usually in the springtime. A lot of stuff out there for her to hunt. And there's another broccoli that has just headed up way too early. So we're going to pick this little guy. Go ahead and eat him. There's some more peas flowering out. These peas that I have planted down here are a sugar snap pea. So you can actually eat them. You can let them grow with the pea inside and get large. And you can eat them like that, like people normally do. Or you can pick them young and eat the whole pod and everything. You can stir fry it, eat it fresh. We actually just like to snack on them because they are very delicious. They're very nutritious, and yeah, we just like to snack on stuff throughout the farm. It's kind of nice being out here and looking at stuff and having your meal while you're at it. This is one of our apple trees. One of the red Gravensteins. One of my favorite apples. It's very soft. Good for cooking. Makes an amazing cider. Has an aftertaste that's just like nothing you've ever had before. First time I had a Gravenstein cider, I was blown away and said, at that point, I had to have Gravenstein apples. I've actually got a bigger one up on our hedgerow, up in our upper orchard. It's on a Geneva dwarf rootstock. The one I just showed you is actually on an M111 semi-dwarf rootstock. That one will take typically 3 to 5 years to start bearing. The Geneva typically takes 2 to 3 years. M111s actually can take up to 7 years to start bearing. And if you're like us and have deer that like to gnaw on your trees and on the leaves, it can take quite a bit of time after the 7 years. And sometimes you have trees like this one that they might end up killing. Who knows? That one actually looks a bit sad. I think that's one of our Liberty trees, which is a good disease-resistant variety. Just not resistant to deer. We have our squash that were just recently planted. Got overheated because we didn't water them. Looks like somebody forgot to plant that one deep and put dirt around it. It's one thing you actually got to do when you plant. You got to actually do it right. Sometimes we get in a hurry and don't always get it done right. This is our garlic. Got very, very few of this variety. This one is actually our, let's see, Korean red. So this will actually be one we will not have for sale. I've actually grown it for us, and we'll harvest some of them and keep them for seeds for next year. And we got a small bed of this one too. This one is, and I've actually got, let's see, 3, 4, 5 varieties of garlic this year. This one's a Georgian Fire. So, most of these probably will be for our consumption, and for seeds for next year, if we like them. That's why we try them in small quantities to see how they do, see if we grow them, see if they go good for our zone and area. So far, the Georgian Fire is actually doing rather well. The Korean Red, we didn't have really great success on it so far, but we'll see as the year progresses. Could have just been the seed we got. Now this entire row, and obviously you can see the grass has grown tremendously. We've had warm weather, perfect rain, perfect conditions for weeds and grass to grow. This is music garlic. We actually grew it last year in raised beds. Decided to do some this year in a no-till type environment, and it's been doing pretty good. Starting to get a little overrun with weeds at this point. I got to come down here as soon as the weather dries up and take care of them, but you can see big garlics. They are probably so far around, some of them are reaching 3 foot tall right now. They should start bulbing up pretty good. See right there. Now, this kind will actually get a scape on it. Oh, we are actually getting our first scapes, which is really, really exciting. We will start harvesting scapes. What we do is we will actually, this will be a seed pod. So the seed pod will actually be this part right here. If you let it develop, it'll develop seeds. The seeds will grow. You can plant them again, but it's not always true to seed. So we like to take the cloves and break them apart and replant them rather than seeds. But the scapes, going back to that, is a delicious alternative to a garlic clove. You can chop them up, saute them, use them like you would in garlic. It is amazingly delicious. If you have our produce boxes, I will actually start putting those in our produce boxes because I cannot consume enough of these guys, as many as we have, to keep them all. So that's one of the extra traits of, or extra perks of having our CSA and produce boxes, is you get some of the stuff that may not be available at market or on our stands just because they'll be in limited quantities. And some of that garlic's looking, or yeah, squash is looking really good. several of those are ready to harvest. So we'll be harvesting those and have them available. Now, once you pick the scapes off of your garlic, the bulb will actually start growing tremendously. After you pick the scape off your garlic, you've actually probably got somewhere around 3 to 5 weeks of letting it grow before you can start harvesting your garlic. Right now it's actually a little bit early, but we've had really warm weather combined with super cold intervals. 80 degrees one day, low of 20 the next, but it's East Tennessee for you. So our wonky weather kind of messes with crops from time to time, but you learn to live with it and deal with it. So it's a little bit early for the garlic, but we'll take it. Got some of our apple trees, like this one, our graft union didn't take, but the rootstock's growing back. So next year, after this rootstock grows, we'll leave it to just one single limb, cut it back to a central leader. We'll actually chop that off in the winter, probably early spring, late winter of 2021. And put a new variety on it to grow in our orchard. Let's see what we can find as far as any other trees we've got around here. We also, we have got way over there across the creek, you can see our orange tractor. Over there is actually going to be our U-pick orchard. We started planting that last fall in 2019. And have got a lot of varieties over there. I think we've got over 50 planted just over there right now, and over 150 trees so far. We've also got hazelnuts growing over there. So if you like hazelnuts, we're hoping to have those in the next probably year to two. Was hoping for this year, but deer apparently decide that they like hazelnuts also, so we've had to fence them. But time being, we are actually growing our crops between our trees, because this whole lower orchard is semi-dwarf M111 trees, so they will take a while to come in. So in that time frame, we are actually using this for gardening. These right here, we will actually be putting landscape fabric down. Got a big load of that today and getting more tomorrow. But this will probably be about 6 to 8 foot, maybe close to 10 foot rows of melons. We will have watermelons, cantaloupe type melons, all that. We grow heirloom melons. If you come to our market stand or to the farmer's market when we're there, you get to buy some of our old-fashioned seeded heirloom melons, which have an amazing flavor and taste. Not at all like the stuff that you buy in the store. We have anything from white sugar lump watermelons, which are delicious. They almost have like a floral flavor to them. We've got Orange Glow, which is an orange fleshed watermelon. We've got a new one this year. It is Golden Royal or Royal Golden, something like that. Got it from Baker Creek Seeds. But it's actually a yellow skinned watermelon with a red flesh, which is pretty cool. Don't see that too often. There's a few other of our trees. We've got everywhere you see a post at throughout the yard, there is a different tree. Most of these varieties we have one or two of. Most of these are very odd varieties that you will never ever get to taste in your lifetime. We just have an obsession of all these different flavors of apples. That one's actually a normal variety. That one's a pink lady. We've got a few. We've got a Beverly Hills, which we don't know if it'll actually ever produce fruit in our area because it is for warmer zones like California. We've actually had people that reported growing it, I believe, in Africa. So it's a rather warm tree. Let's see. Holiday. Now all of these we actually grafted ourselves. We did that since, I believe 2017 is the first year we started grafting. Just kind of fell in love with it. We run our chickens through here. These are some of our breeder coops. So if you ever go on our website and buy our chickens, we switch these coops around and flip them around. They get fresh grass. They fertilize our trees. And they get plenty of fresh grass and bugs. And they take care of our pest population for us while they're doing it. Let's see. That tag is gone. Thankfully, I have a map of this entire area that tells me exactly which tree is where, so we do not have to worry about losing our trees or forgetting what they were. Another thing, we of course love our weird trees. This is a Kazakhstanian. It's actually the Kazakhstanian 960902 from the USDA. One of the ones that they went over to Kazakhstan and got plants, seedlings, apples, so on and so forth from. They actually use them and research them at the Geneva station in New York. So we were thankful enough to get some of those to see what they'll do for us in our area. If anything, they're a good diversified apple with a lot of genetics that you will never see here, which is pretty cool. Somewhere in this mess, there are 2 apple trees. Not for sure where they are in there. Looks like one's over there on the other side of the fence. This was actually going to be for horses when we had horses, but and kept them an extra area of grass to eat. Going to be taking it down because we don't have horses anymore. They were a little too much for us, and we didn't get to ride them and give them the attention they needed, so found them a good home. Another one of the trees that we grow, or are starting to grow, is a nanurka. We attained the scions from that through lots and lots and lots and lots of hours of research. There was actually only one person known in the United States to have this tree anymore, so we contacted them and they were gracious enough to send us scion wood. They actually at the time only had one tree living and had grafted a few more themselves just to save the variety. Let's see. This is one of Steven's picks. It's a crab apple, which normally you wouldn't really want to eat or grow, but it's a good pollinizer, and it's a red silver. Obviously it's still young. We grafted this one I think in 2018. So it's new to us, still growing, would have grown better if it wasn't for our deer that got into our orchard and decided to munch on all of our trees. Like I said, it happens. But it's supposed to have beautiful red silver leaves to it. That's actually one of our anurkas that we are babying. We have since then grafted some anurka onto Geneva rootstock that will produce probably in 2 years at this point, thankfully, because M111, like I said before, is just very slow growing sometimes. And down here, the deer love to eat it. And you can see all the rain we've got today. Got puddles and puddles of water everywhere. We never had this much rain, and we actually never have gotten flooded like this. And not really flooding, just the water not being able to be absorbed into the ground until about 2017. And it just started raining in East Tennessee all summer long. So you deal with it and take it and do what you can. So that's our orchard and our garden. Not our behind the barn garden, but our lower field garden. And it is starting to rain quite heavily, so I am going to go. So thank you for joining us, and please subscribe to our channel. We'd greatly appreciate it, and keep watching for new videos. Thank you. Bye.